just make it a rule not to mention the narrative of this game ever again. I think that's probably a very good idea. Holy crap. Yeah, I just how come my temperature gauge hasn't gone up? The actual good shame. Um this is different. Oh, look at the last part actually broke me to the point where I needed to take a break. That's the level of what the fuckery that that narrative revelation had on me. I'm not even gonna lie. When we get into like more narrative stuff later on, I will touch upon it again, but for the time being, I think the less I say, the better. Honestly, I just, I'm still in disbelief. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, no, I'm going to stop myself from going on a tangent. We're just going to move on from that. Holy crap. Okay, one thing. It is so fascinating that, for some reason, like, it's more fascinating that narrative event happened. No, it's more fascinating that that narrative event exists than the fact that it happened, if that makes sense. Like, someone working on this game made that choice, and that's way more interesting than the actual plot itself. And I'm never gonna get over that. What's going on here, game? Why you got a bunch of these facing the wall? Hmm? Care to explain? Do you reckon I could... Right. This is probably going to go horribly wrong. But I really want to try it. If I were to do that... Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Go! We glide? Oh, that's awesome! Genuinely did not think this would work. Holy crap. See, things like this that just make me wish that we could find a way to have like an infinite amount of power. You know, because to make something like this would just be great. Or at the very least, like, have... It's gonna go boom. Have those gliders, like, not expire. God... I'm sorry, but my mind is still caught up on what happened in the previous part. So it's more fascinating that it happened rather than what happened. Like, the possibility of that event occurring occurred. You know, that it was on someone's brain and they went, yes, that's a good idea. And then a team of other people went, yes, that is also a good idea. Because I was really getting into the groove of talking about this game In terms of its world building? And I was saying, like... Oh, God. I was saying, like, previously, how I found the world building in this game to be absolutely terrible. And that's fine. That is a conclusion that is, you know, that hasn't changed. I was set up for this was set up for disaster. You know, it was bad from narratively. This was bad from the start, and it just got worse. Which means that the gameplay has to be the saving grace of this now. But even on top of that, even when you've made choices in a narrative as bad as this, you still have the opportunity to tell an interesting story, or at least to explore an intriguing concept. Which doesn't mean that the execution is going to be good, but it's something, you know? And that's sort of what I'm holding on to at the moment. You know, like... There's things here that I am still intrigued with, but I'd be lying if I said that the actual... I mean, put it this way, it's the equivalent of saying, like, oh yeah, the narrative of this game... the narrative of this game works really well if you just ignore everything that breaks the story of this title. That's not a good thing. You should not be saying that. It implies it's broken, because it is broken. I don't even want to look at the memories ever again. The memories were like some of the best parts about the previous game. That's the other thing. And now... And now... And now... Holy crap. I don't see me ever, like, mentally recovering from what... I sound like this game's attacked me. That's not at all what I'm trying to imply. I'm trying to say that I don't think that I'm ever going to... like... quite... it's so weird, right? Because part of me wants to say I'm never going to accept, but I will. I have. But I'm never going to... Understands the better term, right? I'm never going to understand why this game just made the choice that it did, narratively. Because I've got to say, in the last part, me just screwing about is the most I've enjoyed this title yet. Oh, that ain't good. Oh. I'm assuming I can't just blow this up, right? How many bonfires have we got? It's going to be like 1, isn't it? I would say I could give it a try. Oh, don't die. Please. Wait for Link to stand up so I can be like, quick, glide, glide. Oh, it's like someone was just... They had their hand hovering over, hey, wouldn't it be a cool idea if we brought time travel back to a Zelda game? There's nothing wrong with time travel plots. It's just that they're very easy to fuck up if you don't give them enough care and attention. If that makes sense. You know, if you Oh, I've got an idea. That's not the idea. This is why I want to put this shit back. Oh, it's fine. dead to me. Right, yeah. Just because I know I can do this now. God, I've appreciated this game in terms of its gameplay so much more in like a bit between the last part and this one. But narratively, I could not be more frustrated. I think I should go there. Don't do it, 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 don't. Oh god, okay. No, no. Oh, you... Okay, it's fine. Bring that over here. God, 10 out of 10s. Really? Fuck. Just fuck. I think that's the other annoying thing about this, right? Because if someone were to say, like, oh yeah, well, 10 out of 10 for gameplay, you know? And I'd still be like, yeah, but the narrative is still a thing. It's still... Why did you put that there? The narrative of this game is still a thing. You know, it's not like the gameplay erases the fact that this game has a story that's bad. You can't just ignore the negatives. Okay, if you're a casual person, you know, a casual player of a game like this, yes, absolutely, you can ignore the narrative elements. You can. But just say you're a journalist, you know, who has a job to review things professionally, and you decide for some reason that you're going to ignore all the negatives in a title like this. I don't really think that you should have your job. Right. This could go horribly wrong. This probably will go horribly wrong. To the moon! Okay. I see what's happened here. What we need to do... I don't know if the cart's going to be too heavy, actually. What we need to do is we need to put it there like that. Will that work? Oh god! It's doing something! Oh god, this is such a... Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. Is it because the fans are getting caught on the... No! We can recover. Yeah, I think the fans were getting caught on the thing. So this might work. I just had a message from one of my friends saying, oh lord, he's cooking, when I told him about the narrative. What's it getting caught on? I assume it's getting caught on something. Is it because it's, like, trapped? Do I need more fans? Possibly. I can put that in like that. Right. Has that worked? Okay. There is an alternative way to do this. It is dangerous, but it can be done. I think that the carts might just be too heavy. I still want to use both carts. Get in, get in, get in. I don't want it to zip off without me. Are we doing it? Basically, I'm relying on gravity here. That's what I'm doing. I mean, worst comes to worst, I just use the rewind feature. If it falls, I guess. It's because it's pointing down. There's a bit of a lip. Wait, can I lift this up whilst I'm on it? Nope. Okay, that's probably for the best. Push, push, push. I kind of want something to, like, jab it with, you know? Oh, I mean, they're not exactly level. Do I have anything that I can do that with? I can make another contraption to push it, but... Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do something very precarious. Go, 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 go. Is it moving? Like, half the thing's over the edge at this point. Here we go. Oh my god! Is it working? I can't even remember where I was going. It was this way. This is awesome. I really wish that I had way more power. Oh my god, it just plummets. It's that heavy. Holy shit. Okay, well, it's going down a lot lighter than... No, we're good. We're bailing. You need to reach your friend. Oh, that's... I'm things like the Koroks there, I will come back to them at some point. Like, mentally, I'm just gonna, like, go, yeah, not up, but... I kind of like leaving myself things to do. Oh. Oh. No. 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 This is a terrible idea. Yeah, you know what? We don't even need... We don't even need to see where we're going. We've got this. This is going to be fine. Okay, anyone that tells you otherwise... Goddamn liar. Don't do that! Okay, there is no way where this ends well. If we do that at the very least, then... This is a terrible idea. It's an amazing idea, though. I should have been doing things like this from the start, let's be honest. Right, yes, I could just use that in the rocket, but there's something infinitely more appealing about slapping this onto a metal cart and just going... Hold on tight. Yeah, I don't even need the control over it. We just need to do this. Like, holy moly. All I need to do is hop in and just off we go. I am ready. Woo! Wow. Okay, so when you're in a container like that, you just take no fall damage. Or momentum damage. It was a bit weird, but I'll take it. Knock. Friends. God, that dude went flying. Oh, he's picking up a weapon. I thought he was just like, nope, I'm out. I think a part of me is always going to find it a bit awkward that the materials seem to be a better thing to attach to these weapons than other weapons. You know, so if I do that... Yeah, that's +7. That's really weird. Ah, it is the urge to slap weapons on top of weapons, that's the thing. But look at that, +13. See, that's where I'm going wrong. Right. There we go. Eh. Was that just as a means to give them grief? I didn't actually get anything out of that. Huh. Okay. Well, do I have any... I'll tell you what, I'll just... Yeah, that's fine. I am going to drop a material and just attach it to this rusty broadsword, and we're just going to go with it, because I swear, if this, like, boosts us up to, like, a ridiculous amount of damage... Yeah, look at that. 24. I've got 8 of those as well, and this is the rusty broadsword as well. This is one of the more common weapons in the game. So you can just sort of, like, brute force this shit. That's kind of mental. This has gone from one extreme to the other. And I still don't like the idea of all like, the majority of the items about the place that you can find from enemies and shrines and stuff being fused. If only because that takes away the player from actually crafting those items and weapons themselves. That being said, though... What does it say? Fireproof lizards and monster parts. Do I have any, actually? But yeah, that being said, though... Like, we've got a surplus of stuff that I could have been attaching all along. Like, how much... Yeah, +7, and I've got 12 of those. 17, one of those. Lizards. So we've got monster parts. Are there... There should be some lizards about the place. If the bucket is literally there. Yeah. They're not lizards. I should just do an episode where I'm hunting. At this point, I just, you know, just chill. Do that, you know. Have a bit of fun. Forget about the plot of this game. That's probably a really good idea. you know, was having a bit of a conversation with my mother there. I'm actually going to have to pop off in a little bit, but we should be fine. I was wondering about here because this stuff here is so misleading. I think this is the second time I've encountered something where it says something like flame guard. So it's not like heat resistant or something like that, but it protects against fire attacks. I feel like those should go like hand in hand. What do I know though? Right, so we've got 2 fireproof lizards. I'm gonna do a thing, and that thing is called saving, because I don't trust this game. The last time I tried to make an elixir, it just gave me some shit food instead. So we do that and that, and we need the monster parts. Right, let's just see how this goes. Okay, 8 minutes, that's good. Anyway, what I was saying beforehand about doing an episode where I'm just hunting, I kind of want to just do a few streams where I am just messing about with like some of the more mundane mechanics of this game. I use the term mundane. Fucking hell. I use the term mundane with as much heart as possible, of course. You alright, dude? She's got a smile on her face. You've been knocked... Is that what that is? You've been knocked out? Dude. Actually, you're... That's the thing, at this point, I kind of just want to see how many things I can combine together. I got... I wish I had some form of description of these things on here as well. Like, just to sort of get an idea of what I'm adding. I mean, I know that I could just do this, but that sort of eliminates the point of the other menu. And look at that! I've got 2 of those, that's 16. 13 of those, that's 17. It's sort of like we've gone from one extreme to another. We've got 8 of those, and that's 18. I mean, if I were to, like, drop that... So that's 23, and it's extra durable as well. Yeah, right. I came over here because I thought, you know what, maybe, just maybe, we'll get a reward for saving this person, but apparently not. Oh! Do I even want to try this? I kind of do. Right, first things first. I'ma say all the words inside my head. Do you think? Don't shoot it, just get away. Suck it in. I hate you. Just gonna try and get, like... Oh, for fuck's sake. Right. It's fine. We've got some really good equipment now out of, like, just chilling about. I really don't know how I feel about that. Like, I just wandered into, like, some really cool equipment. Whoa! Did he swing? Or was that his shield? Oh well, at least the rock Octorok will be back. Okay. No, it won't. At least I don't think it is. Nope, it's just gone. Okay. Well, that's fun. Urge to use bomb. Urge to not use bomb. Urge to use food. God, I still really need to get into the habit of making dishes and not just showering down like that. Look at this camera. Oh my god. It has gone to the point now where I can tell which is drift and which is the game actually acting up camera-wise. Another Black Bokoblin horn. So that brings us up to 2, and they're 17. Yeah, fucking hell. So, what was the increase on these ones? 18? Yeah, fuck. It's insane. Moblin horn. Oh, I blew the chest all the way over here. $14 and then attack +3. Attack up +3. Enables quicker charge. But I mean, I can drop that. Okay, I kind of just I want to practice with upgrading weapons. There's a lot of just like mundane casual stuff I want to do. I say mundane, you know what I mean. There's the combat music playing there. Okay, I guess we can do this now. What the fuck is up there? No, we're doing this and then we'll go that. Because I don't want to go all the way up there just to find out I'm not going to be rewarded for going all the way up there. Okay, I should probably save before I do this. You can check the recipes now. That's pretty cool. Wait. Wait. So, the descriptions in this game are terrible. I've seen the world record Breath of the Wild speedrun. I have, yeah. It really doesn't interest me. It's specifically for Breath of the Wild because it's like I don't know. I don't really know what to say past the point when it comes to something like this game. You know, in terms of like praising them for beating beating the game within a certain amount of time. It's just sort of like I like speedruns. Don't get me wrong. It's not the act of speedrunning that I'm a bit weird about when it comes to this. It's more so to do with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom in general, where the point of these games is less to do with navigating from A to B, and it's more about just relaxing with the world. Like, with a linear game, it's significantly more impressive to see people speedrun something like that. But but that's because there's like a set of events that you have to go through, and seeing people skip past them is impressive. Something like this, on the other hand, well, it is designed. It's almost like partially designed to be speedrun. I'm still under the impression that this version of Zelda is like an image of Ganondorf or something like that. Oh. I'm glad that everyone decided to start 50 miles away from me. What? What happened? What happened? The bomb wiggle is weird. Was he doing the bomb? I genuinely, I could not read what was happening there. You taking my stuff away? There we go. Yeah, I mean, something like, watching someone speedrun Wind Waker or something like that is significantly more impressive for me because of how open a title like that is, and yet you still have to complete a number of set tasks before getting to the end game. God, I still hate how far everyone runs when it comes to that. Oh, wow. That dealt so much damage. Holy shit. Why did that deal so much damage? Oh, is it just that? Oh, I get it. It's set because you have to wait for him to do his attack so many times. You wanna do it again? I'm sorry, Yunobo. That kind of sucked. We got another stage? Is that it? I think there's a blur ever since I put on the mask from Princess Zelda. Where is she? That's not, It's creepy and uncomfortable to see her going around doing all this shit, but that ain't her. Okay, so his special is rolling into things. Got it. I made a fire elixir for no reason. I feel like that's especially sort of disappointing in this area because of how many rocks and gems there are. Granted, I bet you they go up in price once we've restored this place. But I kind of want to. You got any chests or anything? No, just doing it for the sake of it. Okay. Didn't want to do that. Okay. Can I not fire it up into the air or something like that? Maybe I can make a ramp or something. I was thinking for like other bosses as well. Yep, we've been up there. Oh, we can finally destroy the things up there now. Yeah, okay. Well, that is a... Yeah, there we go. Good that I got this shrine then. Oh wow, that did not get me as close as I thought it would. Oh, it's because I didn't even get the right shrine. It's sort of like at this point, narratively, Breath of the Wild made the mistake of making its flashbacks way more interesting than anything that was happening in the present. And having that narrative be so rare and ambiguous was one of the biggest letdowns of that game because it wasn't rewarding. You were left with a bunch of questions, but the concept of what was happening in the past was way more compelling than anything that was going on in the present of Breath of the Wild. In Tears of the Kingdom, everything that happened in the past is so utterly broken that you almost want to ignore everything that's happening in the flashbacks in this game. There is not a scenario where this game's iteration of time travel works in a positive light whatsoever. It's completely and utterly broken. And now there's an infinite amount of Zeldas and Master Swords dotted about every point in time.
Right here, Goro. And then she gave me this fancy mask to wear around. After that, oh, jeez. It's no use. I can't remember anything that happened after that. There she is! Princess! Princess Zelda! We need to talk to you! It's dangerous.
I'm gonna be really intrigued with how they answer the Princess Zelda conundrum. she's... So there is a faster sword. Oh, there is... This game has broken... This game has completely and utterly broken the Zelda timeline to complete disrepair. Like, there's no way the franchise can ever be fixed again thanks to this game's explanation of how the Master Sword works. It's...
Here I go! Oh boy, it's real big!
It's actually... It's beyond fucked. Can I not knock that out? Okay, no! I put it off my socials at this point, but I don't really have an issue with saying that the narrative of this game is so broken
If we can't hit it higher up, we're gonna be in trouble.
that it might just be one of the worst narratives I've ever seen in a video game, without exaggeration. It's all it takes is like a single plot point that's just not thought about, and then it shits on everything. That's literally all it takes to screw with a franchise. So nothing is off limits, everything is canon. It's all fucked. Like, there is no canon anymore. Zelda is confirmed to be, in this and Breath of the Wild, this iteration of Zelda is confirmed to be somewhat of an archaeologist. And at the start of this game, she's she's investigating the history of Hyrule. She now has unlimited access to time travel because the Master Sword in this game can time travel by itself. Now, the explanation behind how Zelda time travels is a bit better. The idea is that she has the ability to do things with time, but she just doesn't have the experience to do it yet, which puts a limit on things. It puts a cap on things, and that's exactly what you want. You want a rule set when it comes to making decisions like this. And in terms of Zelda's abilities, great. Because it's not just saying from the get-go, Zelda can just time travel whenever she wants. But now we know that the Master Sword is both sentient, and it can time travel. And on top of this, there is now... The game hasn't mentioned this, but there's no way this isn't true at this point. There are an infinite number of Master Swords now. Which means that everyone can be armed up, and everyone can time travel. And with Zelda's fascination with Hyrule's history, when everything's been restored, there's no way she's not going to want to go back in time and check out Hyrule in the past, learn about the legend of Zelda and Link, and travel back to Skyward Sword and see the events where Demise, the person that starts and that kickstarts all of the shit from the Zelda franchise off into making all these apocalypses and bad shit from happening, she can just stop that now. The Zelda franchise never happens now. It's not just an Unlimited Sword. The franchise legitimately never happens now. The Master Sword, the Skyward Sword no longer becomes the Master Sword. And it no longer becomes the Master Sword because Zelda can now just erase Demise from existence. But that's a paradox. Because if she can do that, then she could never time travel in the first place. But she can, but she can't, but she can, but she can't. It keeps going on and on and on and on. This franchise is ruined now. Like, every future entry going forward, there is no way to... There is no way to look at this franchise without thinking of the fact that Zelda and this iteration of the Master Sword can just infinitely time travel without restrictions. It's broken. It's like, this franchise is broken.
Here I go.
Let's be clear about this as well. In Ocarina of Time, the way time travel works in that game is that there is a very strict rule set. So essentially, the Master Sword can only travel between 2 points in time. It can only travel... But it can only travel during the points in which the Master Sword was at the Temple of Time. That's how Ocarina of Time explains it. But this isn't Ocarina of Time. In this game, there are 2 Temples of Times. That hasn't even been brought up. But there are 2 Temples of Times. The Master Sword coexists with the Master Sword. It's insanity. Someone wrote this and said, yeah, that works. I mean, obviously, it's not something that has been directly addressed, but it doesn't have to be directly addressed. The evidence behind it is here. It exists. We've got cutscenes that prove it now. It's cemented. There is no going back. It's a thing that exists and it can't be unwritten. And this game is getting 10 out of 10s.
Here I go.
Like, there are people that are screaming about this being one of the best games ever made. Like, okay, gameplay-wise, I still don't agree, but gameplay-wise, I would understand it infinitely more if people were just referring to that. But if you're going to give something a 10 out of 10, that includes the whole package. And the narrative of this game is there. And without a doubt, this has to be one of the worst written narratives I've ever seen. Okay, individual, like, conceptually, a lot of the plot points and everything that's happening
I can do it.
without the time travel stuff, I would say is just subpar. You know, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that's terrible in that regard, but because of that one thing, it's insane. Same happened in Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I know that Breath of the Wild got a shit ton of 10 out of 10s, but in Breath of the Wild, the plot didn't break the entirety of the Zelda franchise. You know, at the very least, I'm like, Breath of the Wild was a good game. I'm fine with that getting praise. Like, okay, it's crazy that people are saying 10 out of 10s, but I'd sooner a game like that get a 10 out of 10 by a shit ton of people than a bad game, you know? And this isn't a bad game. This is a great game in many aspects, but with the narrative this now has, it's insane. People can't just say like, "Oh, we give it a 10 out of 10," and that's, you know, it's just our opinion. What the fuck does that mean? Objectivity is a thing. Like, you can't just say that, "Oh, this is the greatest game ever made," in my opinion. No, you've just said a statement, like an objective statement. You've used factual language and followed it up with subjectivity. That doesn't work. That's not how that works. You can't just say, it's like someone saying, "In my opinion, it's raining," and the sun is like blazing. You're just wrong. You are objectively, you are just wrong.
Here I go. Charge!
The people giving this a 10 out of 10 going, "Oh yeah, well, in my opinion, it's one of the greatest games ever made." Don't say shit that can be proven wrong. I mean, obviously the issue of that is that you have to identify what would classify as one of the greatest games ever made, but actually, you wouldn't. You just have to think of a game that does things more consistently and overall better than this title. And then that eliminates that completely. I mean, like, Mario, the original Mario, is a much better contender as one of the best games ever made, and a lot of that is because of how simple it is. Like, the concept of Mario is so simple that when talking about that game objectively, it's extremely hard to... It's extremely hard to critique it. It's like, yeah, Tetris is another one. Pong. Like, when a concept is so simple that... you know, it does that one thing extremely well, then, you know, yeah, you can't fault it. You can say that you can say that in your opinion it's bland. You can say that in your opinion it's boring. You can use that language to describe like your feelings towards the title, but you can't look at a game like this and go, "This is one of the best games ever made," when there is shit that's provably, like, I'm not even saying like it's hard to find fault with this title. There is a lot of things to say in terms of like negativity when it comes to this title. Yeah, a lot of bias is right. There is... It's mad as well because all they have to do is change that language up ever so slightly. Instead of saying, "I think this is one of the greatest games ever made," which, okay, at the very least, if they say something along those lines, they leave room for discussion. But instead, just say that it's one of your favourite games. Job done. You know, you are allowed to have your opinion, but you cannot warp reality. That's exactly how it's done now. Oh, that's annoying. Overkill is one of the best movement FPS games ever made. I mean, I can't deny that. But that's not because I can't deny that because it's a great game and it's harder to think about any other game within the same genre that exists. Because the thing with that company in particular is that they have a niche when it comes to the type of games they make, and they sort of like build upon those mechanics with each new entry. So it is extremely hard to think of other titles within the same genre and say that they are better or worse, largely because of the rarity of it. It's like I mean the other one of the more obvious entries would be Doom or Doom Eternal, but that is, they are by no means like some of the greatest fast-paced FPSs ever made. They have quite a few issues, and a lot of it's to do with pacing, balance overall.
Huh?
But I mean, that's largely because Ultra Kill is similar to something like Mario and Tetris, simple in concept and design, which means that there's not a lot of room for it to fuck up. It does a few very simple things really effectively. I mean, hell, talking at like my review on the original Legend of Zelda is going to go up soon, and that is one of those titles where there is a gaping problem with that title, but when referring to it mechanically, I don't really have an issue with it.
Huh? Huh?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where when people talk about, oh, you know, there are no games like the classics anymore, that's largely because those entries were so bare bones in terms of their mechanics that's really difficult to try and negatively critique some of those titles.
Huh?
So once again, if we were referred to something like like Mario or even the Zelda franchise, the more mechanics they add on, the more variables you have when it comes to critiquing, and
is firmly locked with 5 padlocks.
like the more in terms of like quantity when it comes
You have
to
the power to unlock.
mechanics.
Do so.
Yes, it's going to be extremely difficult to keep up that winning streak.
Heed my words.
You get something like the original Pong, and that just like it's a concept that speaks for itself. The entire mechanic of the original version of Pong is literally tap the ball back and forth with another player, and whoever gets the ball past the other player wins. That's it. I just mechanically, I've just touched upon everything in the original Pong. That there's nothing else to talk about when it comes to that title, and as such, it is one of the best games ever made. It's not because it's like, obviously you can have your opinions and various forms of subjectivity when it comes to that. Some people might say that they don't like Pong and they're at Pong, and they're perfectly valid for saying that. Like, you are allowed to have the opinion that you do not like a game like Pong. It's not for you. That's fine. You don't even have to qualify a statement like that. You are allowed to just say that.
Stay focused.
But it's like critics that try to say a game is bad for being boring. I don't think there is a way to objectively prove whether or not something is boring, because that's a by-person basis. Essentially what you're dealing with there is you're dealing with someone's feelings, and that can't be tied in to the game itself. It's unrelated. Yeah, Kill has some very interesting weapon interaction. It does, but in comparison to other shooters within the same genre, it's not as mechanically in-depth, but that's not a bad thing. That's actually in the game's favour. It essentially means that there is a small learning curve, but a massive like ceiling for skill, and that's more often than not that's how you want a game to be. You want to be able to have the mechanics of a game be learned easily, but engaging to master, rewarding to master. The Soul series is really easy for praising in that regard. Not that Soulsborne is amazing at it. I mean, I guess one of the things with the Soul series that people will forever have a hard time admitting is that combat in Souls games, it's not good. But that's kind of the point. It doesn't erase the fact that it's not good. But yeah. Because I P-ranked P2 yesterday, you're right. Yeah, there you go. You put the time into something like that, and I mean, there is a certain level of objectivity, of subjectivity with that, I guess. You could play a shit game, and said shit game could be easy to master. You know, that is a possibility, but you want it to be accessible at the same time. There are a number of factors for it. It just kind of makes you wish that people would get some perspective and stuff like that. It's the myth that it's the myth that a lot of people have, where they say something along the lines of you know, everyone's allowed their opinion, but not everyone's opinion is right. That's the general rule. There's a really good fallacy There's a really good fallacy where once you learn what the fallacy is, you can't unsee it, and that's the fallacy that popularity leads to quality, which it doesn't. The fallacy that because a lot of people talk about a particular product, that makes that product good. It doesn't. And that one in particular, that fallacy always amuses the shit out of me. Because all you have to do is be like, the Nazis were pretty popular. That doesn't mean they're good. It's mental. Like, racism and bigotry is extremely popular. That doesn't mean it's good. Prime example, Garten of Banban. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of indie games like that where they're popular because of the social, the social exposure those titles get, and a lot of people will play those titles primarily for word of mouth rather than because of the titles themselves. And that's fine, but you still have to, like, temper what you say when it comes to stuff like that. I mean, getting people claiming that something like Slender, the 8 pages, for example, saying that's like, oh, when that came out, that was one of the best games ever made, or something like that at the time. It was one of the most impactful games ever made, absolutely, but there is a difference between those two statements.
That must be the first padlock.
There we go. It's sort of like the most Disney franchises at this point in time. Oh great, a cutscene played, therefore my creation just went over here. That's awesome. Thank you, game. I really appreciate that. Anyway. Get my thing from over here. Yeah, it's sort of like most modern Marvel films past the point. They're being churned out now largely because of their prior success rather than because of their modern success. But a lot of people are willing to die on the hill that Marvel and Disney films are still good. Because they were good once. Or at least some of them were good. A lot of it's just to do with egos, though. It's alright for people to like shit things. And I really think that needs to be normalised. Thank God. The Snyder Cut's never going to leave. Like, there's always going to be a cult of people that claim that the Snyder Cut is one of the best films ever made, and I'm always going to be there, like, did we watch the same thing? You wait, woke activism, it ruined everything. That's the thing, like, people's interpretation of what woke is, and what's a commercialized version of it is, you know, propped up by companies like Disney. They don't have the same definition, and it's sort of infected a lot of things. Doctor Who's a really great example of that. People thinking that Chris Chibnall's run of Doctor Who with Jodie Whittaker was the most progressive and woke entry of the series yet, when in reality it was probably the most bigoted out of the entire modern run. And that's not because that's not because like a woman was placed as the Doctor. Like, that had nothing to do with it whatsoever. It was the most bigoted entry of the modern series, because there were some really wild choices made in terms of, like, statements being sort of made and said. Morals were really weird. The Doctor defeats the Master, who at this point in time is a person of colour, by revealing his skin tone and sending him off to a concentration camp. I don't know. I don't consider that to be woke. I don't consider that to be particularly progressive. Actually, I kind of think that's a really bad thing to do. I ain't gonna lie. As heroic music plays in the background. If Marvel makes Magneto black, it would be pretty bad because of his backstory. I mean, it just depends. It absolutely depends. It's all down to how it's written. I mean, at the end of the day, with something like that, all you need from a narrative like that is acknowledgement. And that is forever one of the most frustrating things about something like the modern run of Doctor Who and most Disney products, is that they pat themselves in the back for doing very little, if nothing at all. Like, for example, Eternals. Eternals was being marketed as, along with a series of interviews, as one of the most progressive superhero films ever made. You know, every character was of a different gender, every character was of a different race, and they were really pushing that this was going to be like a diverse film where everyone could identify with it. And then the film happens, and then it's not brought up once. It's not that it needs to be brought up, it's the fact that they drew so much attention to that. That's the offensive part. Like, they were using it as a marketing tool rather than as a narrative tool. If they've got an interesting story to tell with behind someone's backstory, then yeah, go for it. Absolutely. No, say like, yeah, Magneto's backstory starts in Outswitch, yeah. But if they were to change up his race or his religious beliefs or anything like that, all they need to do in that scenario is acknowledge it. That's it. That's all they need to do. If they acknowledge it in the script, if they acknowledge it in the plot, if they just say, we have a really intriguing concept that we want to share, then fine. I'm normally all for that. They are fictional characters, you know. It's fine to experiment with that sort of stuff, and it's just down to acknowledgement. And they can't do it. They're too scared to do it. You know, they'll make the minute change that a popular comic book character is now a different race or a different gender, but they won't do anything with that. And once again, it's not that they have to. They don't have to. You can sex change characters. You can change whatever you want about character as long as you've got, you know, as long as it's done respectfully. The issue is often to do with the marketing and the promotion behind it all. Like, for example, the upcoming Black Superman film is being advertised as a Black Superman film. It's not like that's how it's being described. They're making a Superman film with a black lead. That's fine. Like, it's fine to do that, but it's the fact that that's the point that they are specifically drawing attention to. Why? Why is that being drawn? Why is that being pointed out? Because then you have to start asking questions like, okay, well, if you're changing the race and gender of these, and if you're changing the race and gender of these popular comic book characters, then what about the characters that are already of the race and gender or beliefs that you're changing them to? Don't care about race, I care about story. Absolutely, yeah. That's how it should be. That's absolutely how it should be. Narrative is always more important than anything else. You want to be able to... Like, because then at the end of the day, what's the point? Essentially what these big studios are doing is, hey, did you know that... I don't know... did you know that people exist? That's it. They aren't drawing... they aren't trying to solve any issues. They're not trying to draw attention to... like the struggles that some people have in this world, dependent upon their race or sexuality. That's not what they're drawing attention. That's not what they're pointing out. They're just saying, "Hey, look, here's a person of a different skin color," or "Hey, look, here's a person of a different sexuality." Pat us on the back. It's like, okay, what are you gonna do with that? Like, what? Why? Why are you pointing that out? Why could you not just let it be what it is? Hey, look, everyone, we're gonna reboot Iron Man, and Tony Stark's gonna be black. Aren't you proud of us? Why are you pointing that out? Why is that the thing that you're drawing attention to? Like, it wasn't weird until you drew attention to it. And then they would say, yes, but unfortunately we live in a world where people just, people still think in that bigoted way. Okay, well then try normalizing the reverse. You know, the point is that equality can only occur when you treat everyone equally. No, nothing says equality like trying to promote a film based on the way someone looks or who their sexual partners are. It's madness. It's like films and products made and designed by people who have like the world's biggest egos. They're doing it because they want people to pat them on the back. They're not doing it because it's actually helping anyone. It's easier for big studios to make films with diverse casts and writers and crews and then come out of it afterwards and go, haven't we done well?
I can do it.
I love how the Mary Sue trend is basically the new buzz cut space soldier trend. I remember when there were people who were generally trying to state that Mary Sue was like a derogatory term. No, it's a term derived, or rather, it's a term to describe like people who are derogatory, if that makes sense. Rey from Star Wars is a Mary Sue. She is a Mary Sue because she has a crap ton of power, and not once does she earn it. That's not an offensive thing to point out, that just is. God, one day, we are going to, like... I don't even know where I've gone with that. I can't think of like a scenario where any of this gets fixed at this point. We've gone so far that it's like... we are now missing the point of why all of this should be done. And it's even like, the terminology being used. Mary Sue is a term to describe a person, usually female. That is perfect. Well, I mean, you can have the reverse for males as well. Like you can have the equivalent. Is what I'm trying to say. The definition of a Mary Sue is someone who earns a shit ton of power or always succeeds without earning it. Like they never encounter any conflict whatsoever. They just stroll on by. That's it, and that happens a lot. That's one of the reasons why a shit ton of people really hated like Captain Marvel, for example. That and the writing was terrible. I mean, this is how bad it's gone, right? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was just fine. It wasn't great, but it was okay. And people are saying that's one of the best Marvel films ever made because they've been conditioned to watching the shittest films ever made in more recent years. It's like being starved to death and then being handed dog shit. And then you're like, this is one of the best meals I've ever had. It's like, yeah, compared to, like, dying. Absolutely.
Here I go! Just 2 left, Link.
Marvel and Disney are really trying, though. You know, they're really trying to make the worst film ever made. It's sort of astounding how whenever a new product comes out, they somehow manage to, like, go a tier below every single time, like, what they've just made. And you're just left to sit there and look at it and go, how? How did it get worse? How did... I thought we hit rock bottom already. I love bringing Eternals up. Eternals is like one of the funniest films to bring up when it comes to the MCU at the moment, because everyone forgot it existed. There is a hand sticking out of the planet still, and no one gives a shit. God, and Quantum Mania introduced the idea that everything should have been over the second it started. The multiverse is infinite, therefore there's an infinite number of Kangs, therefore any attempt to stop Kang in the future, or in the past, or at any point in time for that matter, is redundant. Because there's an infinite number of Kangs. That's one of my favourite parts about Doctor Strange Madness, Into the Madness of the Multiverse, or Madness of the Multiverse, is the concept that the multiverse is infinite, and they're trying to stop one Wanda. One child-sick Wanda. And it's like, are you serious? You're really, like, you've got the balls to say that Wanda is just gone. Like, okay, you've really got the audacity to just be like, oh, she's not a problem anymore. You know, we solved it. We're good. We're going to move on. What about the infinite... the evil ones? What about the infinite Thanoses with infinite Infinity Gauntlets? Like, do you realise the shit that you've just unearthed? If I had editing software, I would use a clip of Flash and Kid Flash racing with the caption Marvel and Disney racing to make the worst movie possible. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone's in the running. It's just that Marvel and Disney seem to be ahead at the moment. It's fascinating, though. It's so fascinating how this keeps happening. Like I said, it's like... Endgame came out, and it was like, what the fuck is this? What happened? Like, you had the perfect setup. How did you fuck it up? And then WandaVision happened, and it's like, what the fuck? Stop! You're making things worse. The world building for the MCU is broken now. You've just ruined it. And all these characters have just been, like, assassinated writing-wise. And then, like, Disney's response to this, Disney and Marvel's response to this is just to be like, alright, here's Black Widow. What the fuck? Stop! Stop making evil shit! Alright, we're sorry. Here's Eternals. This isn't getting better. Alright, well, here's Loki. Right, you can fuck right off. God, there are people that like Loki. That's like, how? The first 2 minutes, well, the first, I want to say like the first 3 minutes of Loki is establishing that no one in the MCU had free will. Some people would just blink and move on from that, and then, you know, okay, fine. But no, you can't. You can't, because the second a show like that goes, no one in the MCU had free will, you realise that no one was in control of anything they did. No one did anything out of any character arc they went on. You know, there's Tony Stark died not because he made a heroic choice to do so, but because a lizard robot decided that would be the best thing. He didn't go on this heroic journey and, oh, I saw that Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 3 is pretty good according to Rotten Tomatoes. I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes. It's good, but it's not great. There's a bunch of holes you can poke in it still. In fact, right at the start, they introduce a device that really fucks with the stakes of the film and most things that happened with the Guardians in the past. It's good though. It really feels like James Gunn was panicking because of Endgame's leftovers. Like he had the perfect trilogy planned out with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2, and then Endgame happened, and now everything character-wise was fucked. It's like he couldn't finish off Gamora's story because Gamora's just that version of Gamora's just not a thing anymore. Groot is just redundant at this point. He's a completely different character several times over. Drax, holy fuck. Like, you can have a bit of fun with some comedy, but Endgame really screwed up Drax. Like, everyone forgot why Drax... like, what Drax was doing and why he was a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy in the first place. Drax was trying to kill Thanos. That was the point. That's why he joined the Guardians, to hunt Thanos down. Thanos killed his family. And then Endgame strolls up and just forgets about it. That's not James Gunn's fault. I can imagine that James Gunn would have been quite pissed off by that. But Thanos... Yeah, but Drax never mentions Thanos in Guardians of the Galaxy... and in Endgame, rather. And it's because he's not in it. He's there right at the end, but... there's no reason for him to be there anymore, because the whole point of him being there has just been fucked over. His entire arc has just been shat on. I know when James Gunn makes this film, when he did Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, he has to look at, like, all of these characters that he built up, and look at the singed messes that have been left over. It's insanity to think about stuff like that. Just to spend 2 seconds going, wow, Endgame really sucked. God, that's not even getting into, like, the narrative that we got. The Endgame really was the beginning of the end. We had a time travel plot where the film gave us 5 different definitions on the rule set of how time travel works, and they all contradicted each other. And even with the corpse of the rule set that we got, that everyone made the stupidest decision they possibly could. I've got an idea. We need Pym particles in order to travel back in time. Yes. Let's not think about getting Pym particles until the worst possible moment. Yes. Like, could you imagine if they sent one person back? One person back, with all the pin particles they had at that moment in time. That's a lot of retries in case anything goes wrong. Like, that person can fuck up so many times. And reset over and over and over again, because according to the Elm's logic, every time someone time travels, they go back to a different version of reality. Somehow. So yeah, you send one person back to get all the pin particles, and because each time whenever you time travel, you go to a different reality rather than actually travel in time, which is fucking insane, but anyway, we'll roll with it. Because of that, we live in a world where they didn't choose to get an infinite amount of pin particles for some unknown reason. And people joke about the idea of smothering Thanos when he's a baby. Why is that a joke? Why was that not on the cards? We can't do that. Yeah, wouldn't it be funny if they went back in time and they killed Thanos when he was a baby? Ha ha ha. No, seriously, why? Why didn't they do that? Even before he got the Infinity Gauntlet, he was fucking people over. Why didn't he do that? Like, why didn't anyone do that? I am genuinely being serious when I say that it makes no sense why no one did that. Infinite Infinity Stones. Yeah.
Here I go. Charge.
Well, I mean, that's not even that's not even thinking about the fact that as they time traveled, there would have been duplicate Infinity Stones at some point. And according to the Ancient One's rules in Endgame, whenever you remove an Infinity Stone from a timeline, that branches off into another timeline. So what happens if you add an Infinity Stone? No fucking clue, because the film doesn't either. Also, can we just appreciate that the logic of the film implies that when Captain America had to go back in time, when Steve had to go back in time and place the Infinity Stones back where they were, which he didn't have to, by the way. Let's point that out. The fact that every single timeline that they go to is a separate reality from the one they exist in means that they don't have to put those stones back. But anyway, regardless, this means that Steve is partially responsible for every major tragedy that has occurred in the MCU. Unbranches a timeline? No idea. No idea. It's not explained, it's not explored, it makes no sense. But, you remember Full the Dark World? Where Jane Foster had the Aether in her? And then in Endgame, Rocket and Thor had to get a syringe and rip the Aether out of Jane. That implies Steve went back in time and placed the cancer-type entity back into Jane Foster with a giant needle. That is fucking insane. And that in turn kills Thor's mother. So Steve is now responsible for the death of Thor's mother. God, thinking about absolutely anything to do with the Infinity Stones, and the fact that they now have a direct link, like Steve has a direct link to every single scenario that happened with those stones. Like, Steve is responsible for the snap. Let's establish that. He put all the stones back in time to allow Thanos to do the snap, not in just one reality, but in 6 different realities. He fucked over 6 different universes. And what's even more hilarious about that is there's no reason why they wouldn't have gone back in time to the point when Thanos was going to use the Infinity Gauntlet on Titan. Remember when he was knocked out and everyone was trying to rip the Infinity Gauntlet off him? Well, they've got the knowledge that Peter Quill was going to do some weird shit. Now you can stop him. Not only can you stop him, you can bring all of the fucking Avengers back. You can prevent so many disasters. And they just choose to do it in the worst way possible. My favourite one out of all of them, even though it's... Okay, yeah, it's probably the most morbid out of the lot, is the fact that somehow Steve reverts the Space Stone back into the Tesseract. Don't ask me how. No idea how he made it into a cube again. But he did that. And following that, this is the best part, by placing it back in time, where he put it, he helped the Nazis! Steve Rogers helped the Nazis! There's some stupid thing called absolute point, but it's dumb. Go on. I heard someone try to say that, like, time travel plots just can't be done. They can. They really can. You just need to establish a rule set. It sounds difficult, because it is, but it can be done. Back to the Future is a great example of that. What you do is you establish a very simple rule set that's ambiguous to the point where you have enough headroom to sort of work it out, if that makes sense. So with something like Back to the Future, the idea is that interacting with the past is a dangerous thing, but it can be done. And those events that you caused in the past have already happened. That's it. Simply done. That's it. The film does not expand upon it because the film does not need to. Meanwhile, in Endgame, the first explanation of time travel we get is It's from the Hulk, who says that every time you travel back in time, that point in time becomes your new present, which translates to every time whenever you change something, that then becomes your new reality. So time travel should be a one-way deal in that case. It's not, but that's how the Hulk describes it. Then, taking the generous, the generous explanation of that, and saying something along the lines of, okay, so basically, whenever someone tries to change anything in the past, it doesn't stick. Clint, Hawkeye, goes back in time and picks up a glove from his garage and brings it to the present with him, brings it to his own timeline. Which means that, yes, shit absolutely does change. He has that glove now, which means that his daughter never picked up that glove. That is an event that has changed. So, okay, that's one giant contradiction. Then we get like Tony and the Avengers style explanation of it, where they all go off to their own separate timelines in order to find the Infinity Stones, which, according to how that's explained there, they're all different realities, not timelines. Doesn't make any sense, based off the information that we already have. And then the Ancient One says that a new timeline can only be formed when an Infinity Stone is removed from said timeline. And then she contradicts herself immediately afterwards. So we have the Ancient One contradicting herself by immediately saying after that, that by removing the stones, that creates an alternative timeline. But also, it puts their new reality in danger? That doesn't make any sense. Based on the information we just got, that makes no sense. God, and then Natalia, Black Widow, leaping off to her death, implies that when Gamora was thrown to her death, Black Widow's body was just there. Oh, that's another fun thing. Captain America met Red Skull. We don't get anything for that. God, Endgame is so bad. Which is such a shame, because Infinity War is so good. I'm forever going to question how we live in a reality where Infinity War turned out to be one of the greatest Marvel films, objectively, of all time. And yet, Endgame is one of the worst. Jesus. It's not saying that one, is it? No, there's... Where's the other track, then? They're referring to that one. Oh, it's on the other... Is it on the other side? Oh, it's up there. Okay, I can do this. Thought it was there. Oh, it's below. No, that's on it. I'm a big dum-dum. Right, to be fair, I'm going to finish this off, and then after I've done this, okay, weird. After I've done this, this dungeon, I've got some stuff I need to do. Oh, that works too. Hehe. Yeah.
I can do it. Let's go.
Right. Okay.
That's all the locks, Link. The door.
Let's do it. God, I could honestly rant about the MCU and Doctor Who till the end of time. Don't you just love the reality we lived in, where one of the people that wrote one of the most recent Marvel films, and Quantumania, had never written a film before in their entire life.
Where's Zelda?
Like, not a feature film, anyway.
That's
An eye?
really big.
Okay, not compared to what we fought before. I get it.
Oh no! Is Zelda inside the monster?
Sure, why not? I wonder if you could cheat the system by using the electricity power.
Link, we've got to save her, Goro. I can do it. Those legs are hurting me. Be careful, Goro. Here I go. Let's go. Now's your chance.
You're just not gonna do anything? You're just gonna float about. Okay. What? How did that do any damage? He just shook slightly. Can't be worse than the last fight at the very least. Oh really? We're starting from back here, are we?
I can do it! Watch out! Here it comes! Here I go! Now!
Oh, they explode.
Rock exploded!
Yep, I saw that with my eyes.
Watch out, Goro! Shut up! I have some chance, Goro!
Come on.
It's gonna explode! Get back!
Oh. That didn't do what I wanted it to do.
Here I go!
Oh, does that just... No, it doesn't just set them back down. I was going to say.
I
Come on.
can do it! Look out! Here I go! Let's go! I have some chance, Goro!
Okay, I've got sort of an idea. Like, maybe if I use him to, the bash the iron, but... I don't know how to get him up there. I guess I shall find out. I could use the Master Sword, to be fair. Like, if we assume that the Master Sword, like, regenerates in the Lost Woods,
Goro!
then that would be fine. Because I can just go and, like, pick it up. Or if there's, like, a recharge time or something like that, then that's fine as well.
I can do it! Let's go! I have some chance, Goro!
Boom! Dude. Dude. No. Dude. There we go. That fucked. Whoa! Hang on, hang on, hang on. Oh. That's kind of fast and loose. I can just, like, blink him about until he does something. Can I? Okay, let's whip out the Master Sword. Let's see what this does. Okay, we should have started with that.
Here I go! Get back! I can do it! Let's go!
Dude.
Here I go!
I mean, that's one way of doing it.
I can do it! Sure! Now's your chance!
You wanna?
Here I go!
What are you going to do now? Go on the ceiling? Okay, I mean... I'm... Oh. That's not what I expected to happen. Can you... Where is he? Now's my chance, really? So he's just invincible until he gets on the ceiling. That's kind of dumb. Please stop that. Right. Where is he? Dude. Dude. Oh. It's fine. We can fast track this now. Where is he?
Here I go!
I'm not really happy about that. Okay, can I just like...
That rock exploded!
It did, but it didn't do any damage to him, so I feel like... What? He's never done that before. He's been naughty. Naughty, naughty. It's an interesting fight. I just feel like that I should be capable of doing way more than what's allowing me to. It kind of feels like that I should be able to use our boy here to get up and smash him in the eye or something like that, but... I feel like I'm sort of randomly limited. Like, there's a slope here. If he comes over here, that would be great. Nope. Still really stupid that I can't do anything with this until... God, that AoE. That I can't do anything with that until, like, his little invincible moment is over. And there's no indication of when that's happening. No, that's not... God, the game's actually screwing me over now. Fucking hell. Yes, I know. I was there.
Now's your chance.
Okay. How durable is the Master Sword? Like, holy shit. I've been sort of, like, using it on and off for a bit now, but... it's lasted way longer than I thought it would. Especially if I, like, put one of, like, the more insane materials on top of it. It's gonna be broken. There's almost no reason for me not to try and take on Ganondorf with it. It is the most powerful weapon in the game. Which is almost ridiculous considering how easy it was to get. I mean, put it this way, if you just... like, the dragon, the light dragon in particular, is like one of the first things you see just floating about in the wild the second you can play the game. So there's no reason why, after getting the paraglider, you wouldn't want to try that. Like, does it say anywhere at all, like, how durable it is? Nope. Maybe it's got something to do with the writing on the side? I'll have to look it up, you know. Right, we'll watch this cutscene and then I'll end the stream there for a bit. I've liked this one. I think that it was more mechanically involving than the previous two, and that's probably why I've appreciated it so much. But it still feels kind of lackluster. These are definitely better than the Divine Beasts, but I'm not gonna lie and say that they are a massive improvement.
Little rock.
I've heard that voice.
They do their job, you know, and I think that they are good, but they aren't.
I am your ancestor from a time long past.
It's kind of weird because
I served
they don't really surpass
mighty warrior.
any
As a sage who, like you,
dungeon from beforehand. Like, even in Legend of Zelda 2, you had to put in a bit of thought with how you were navigating the mazes in that game.
you are my descendant, the pride of the Gorons. You defeated that monster, the source of those foul rocks. But it was the Demon King who summoned it. He sent that monster to keep you from obtaining the stone you just found. My secret stone.
Secret stone? Demon King?
Huh. So this is the first you've heard of any of this. Then listen carefully to what I have to say.
To be honest, it's really weird that I'm telling you in particular rather than, you know, the other ancestor that you talked to in the previous game. In fact, I don't know why we didn't contact them to just burn Ganondorf as much as possible. If we're removing all the time travel shit out of the equation, I feel like that this dude with the information that a mummy-ized Ganondorf exists, there's gotta be a way to, like, deal with him whilst he's in that state. The need in these games to sort of fight all of these beasts and villains at full power is fucking insane to me still.
However, we were no match for the
Like, we waited this long for the Demon King to be at full. That we waited this long for the Demon King to revive before we actually decided to tell you anything about what was going on.
Rauru understood that we couldn't overcome the Demon King.
Also, in retrospect,
Our leader sacrificed himself to
Breath of the Wild's narrative is so much better than this. I'm not saying it's good, but like at the very least, there was an explanation as to why the Divine Beasts were roaming. There was an explanation behind why the Guardians were doing their thing. It didn't really get.
And then sometime later,
It didn't really go too much into it, you know, but there were reasons behind why they existed. And
six sages came to me.
when they all get corrupted, it's like, oh shit, that's kind of cool. I understand why and how that works. In this game, Ganondorf comes back, he releases a bunch of gloom,
He will return.
and then...
When that time comes, a noble swordsman named Link will oppose him.
Well, bear in mind that this is like the second time that like gloom has appeared, because there was some in Breath of the Wild as well. But gloom has appeared all over Hyrule. And then, for some reason, all the other ancient shit just starts appearing in the sky and everywhere. There's not an explanation for that. There's no correlation. Yes, it was on the same time period, but we don't have a reason as to why that stuff is here now. Ganondorf coming back and being in power does not line up with why any of this shit's happening. It's more than a coincidence. It's a contrivance. They are fucking lucky that all of this has happened. I mean, they're extremely unlucky that no one... That, like, they've waited this long for the Master Sword to say anything. Like, that's something that I haven't processed yet. The sentient Master Sword decided to wait until this point to actually verbalize words.
It's my duty to help you fight.
Or, like, psychically talk to someone. It just hasn't until now.
And he wants me to inherit this?
Even way back when, like 100 to 1,000 years ago, when all the Calamity shit was happening.
But then,
even then,
I'd be letting everyone else down. There's no
like the Master Sword just decided to keep quiet. This is the first time it has spoken at this point. Let's also just reference the fact that what's her name?
I am the Sage of Fire.
God, what's her name?
New power, Goro.
5. Was it Fee? I think it was Fi. From Skyward Sword. Like, she just decided to keep quiet until now. Also, she's got to be a bit freaked out by the infinite Master Swords that now currently exist, that the game has not addressed.
And take this. It's proof I stand with you.
To be fair, I am excited after this to continue recording the other Zelda games in order to get the footage for my reviews. I'm particularly excited to return to Skyward Sword because I haven't played that since its time on the Wii. I remember playing a bit of it, look, quite a bit of it. I mean, like, I played it through a few times, and I remember thinking it was okay at the time, but I've heard from some people I know that's one of the better titles. I'd be intrigued to check that out.
No matter what happens. Let's head back.
Right. One last cutscene, and then I'll call it there, and then we'll hop back on later on. We might try the Zora stuff in a little bit as well. Ganondorf did nothing with that as well. He had every Goron who ate that stuff under his control, and he just did nothing. He made them set up a corporation. What? Actually, thinking about that's mad. Ganondorf made the Goron set up a capitalistic endeavor, and that's it. Like, he didn't... Oh my god, he didn't, like... He didn't think to, like, use them to attack anyone or anything like that. He just brainwashed all the Gorons and then just went, you know what? They should start a business. And just left it at that. I think that's the closest thing we've gotten to an explanation as to what's happening with Zelda here. The monsters themselves are forming the illusions of Zelda. That's the most logic that's come out of this game so far. Great! Valve Unibo. Stage of Fire. Good stuff, good stuff. I wonder if this game does the thing like when you beat the main narrative, it pops you back into Hyrule like Breath of the Wild did. I hope it does that because there's a lot of stuff that I'd like to try out. Ooh, diamonds. Yeah, I'll save them for later. As of now, though, and that everyone is chilling, I think what I will do is I'll leave it here, and then we can start selling some stuff and getting all this. This will be sort of like our area to get all of that good stuff. Also the shrine. I would really like to know where the shrine is because I'm kind of annoyed that the shrine isn't here. Also. Yeah, I thought as much. So the volcano's just not gonna go boom? There's gonna be no lava up here. It's just gonna be like this. I mean, I kind of feel like that goes against like the point of this place. But okay. Would the shrine be in here? Yeah, shiny. Oh, to be fair, we can look for the next part, can't we? My brain's like, I really got stuff that I need to do. Or I really want to find that shrine. You'd think it would be like one of the central things, right? There's a number of side quests we can actually do now that have opened up, haven't there? Am I just blind? No, it would be in the city. I kind of feel like it would be weird if it wasn't. It's also kind of weird that it's not, like, in the center. Like, they really feel like it should be there. I honestly can't remember where it is. I say remember because this is still the same layout from Breath of the Wild. I just... Huh. Ah, there you are. Did someone put a little crown on its head, or did it always have that? Yeah, we're just going to do heart containers. I feel like defense is probably the most important thing at this point. Like, if we wanted to, we could start seeking out, like, more shrines for stamina later on, but there isn't really anywhere I can't glide to, or, more importantly, there isn't anywhere I can't make a thing to fly to. So stamina really does feel like the least relevant in this title. Okay, awesome. We got a few more hearts. Right, I'll see you in a bit then. I should be back on